on the things that were going to help me achieve those goals faster, I could have started sprinting much faster than I did. So I could have compressed the time it took me to be to the level of success that I've had a lot faster if I was more clear on where I wanted to go.
Yeah.
So I would say, like, just focus, like find a goal, like create a goal, create a vision for yourself. And like what your ideal goal is. And I would try to reverse engineer the milestones or the steps that it would take to achieve that goal. And then all the way down to the first smallest step that I could take to even be on the path towards that goal in that general direction. And then I would just keep adjusting my trajectory as I go in very small incremental steps until I get there. And that at least I would know if I'm winning or losing in a more definable way than just the whole shotgun approach of, being busy all the time and trying to do everything. And at the end of the day, not really doing much of anything. I don't have an impressive background or anything. I literally just moved into this house. Well, I mean, I told you that. But
Yeah.
still unpacking and everything. So I have my studio set up.
I just moved in myself, man. It's as you can see, I don't really have a background either. I just threw one of my paintings in the background just to give it some ambiance.
Nah, dude, it looks cool though.
It's good enough, right?
Yeah, for sure, man.
It actually goes with the topic because it says the difference between who you are and who you want to become is what you do.
Yeah. Oh, that's good.
Yeah, right.
That's good, man. I love it.
So let's talk about like I told you, it's all about mindset, habits, behavior, performance. When I saw you, I saw a brand builder. I looked at your Facebook profile and I was like, okay, this guy's a founder, CMO. I looked at your Instagram. You had a couple companies on the go. I believe one's teamed up with your wife, Mainstream Couture, I believe.
Yeah, Main Street Couture.
Yeah, Main Street Couture. So when I saw all that, more so than the stature, I saw somebody who had like a very, very, very driven mindset. And as you just said, you built up 2 companies to about 8 figures, 7 figures. So from there, I just want to know, like, how did you get started as this brand builder, as you call yourself on Instagram?
Yeah, man, it's a good question. Like, first of all, I didn't set out to be a brand builder.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of the thing. It's like the reluctant hero almost, where I got into marketing. So I'm not even like a business dude, by nature. Like I don't have one of those stories of like I would hustle kids with baseball cards or set up lemonade stands or whatever. Like that was not me. I grew up honestly wanting to be an artist. So I'm an art major by nature and love the fine arts and everything. But it was actually, I was working at a bookstore, Barnes and Noble at a time, about 10 years ago now. And so I thought I was going to be this like kind of broke artist my whole life, which I was cool with, just like living out of like a shack and like painting every day. And I was like, man, that sounds like a good life.
Yeah.
But then I was stocking books at this Barnes and Noble that I was working at. And I came across a book that was basically about affiliate marketing, where these people were making like, hundreds of thousands of dollars, millions of dollars a year from their bedroom and their underwear overnight.
Okay.
And I was like, man, that sounds way better than being a starving artist my whole life. Like, let me look into this affiliate marketing game. And so then I got onto basically one email list, and they were talking about one thing, and one thing led to another thing. And all of a sudden I was like completely immersed in the world of internet marketing. And really what it was is, I mean, it was just like one thing after another. Like even at that point, I just wanted to make, some extra cash on the side, really to pay my phone bill, to pay, gas for my car and everything. And, cause I was scraping by, like my family's never really had a lot of money. So I was kind of just scraping by at the time. And it seemed like a good alternative to what I wanted to do. I figured I could do that on the side and then keep doing my art. And slowly but surely, I just got more and more immersed into the business end of it, and like setting up online businesses, and totally, like I said, immersed myself into that world. And I think early on, one of the most important things though is I I teamed up with a couple cool people. One of them, my best friend to this day, his name's Darren. And him and I have a kind of a paralleled internet marketing journey where we've been working together for about like 9 years or so. And he's also a co-founder in one of the companies that I left, and the COO through today, actually. So he's still at the companies, but so I teamed up with him earlier on in my marketing journey, and his skill sets really complemented mine. And I was more kind of like the creative end of the marketing. He was more the technical operational end of the marketing. And together we just, had started a number of online businesses, had done a lot of projects in the past, and ended up, co-founding another company together down the line, Truth Neutral, with a couple other business partners. And, so like I said, I didn't start out to be a brand builder or to start all these businesses or anything. I just really got into marketing to make some extra money on the side, and, kept learning, kept developing, and, one thing led to another. And, one thing would take off over here, and then we just like ride that wave and then start this. And, kind of just, you look back, it's all these series of small steps. And then you look back and, 5 years later, you're like, oh shit, we did some cool stuff.
Yeah. Wow.
So,
Wow. Well, one thing that is similar from this interview to my last one was openness. It seems like openness was like the key to you taking these steps, and just like you're an artist and all of a sudden you like just decide to start reading about affiliate marketing.
mm-hmm.
Like you have to be really open. Most artists aren't willing to do that, because to an artist, because I'm a creative too, right? That seems kind of shilly. You don't want to be that shill. You don't want to work for the man and do that type of stuff. So it's really cool
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
you were open to that.
Yeah. And I think when it comes down to it, just like the desire to want more.
Mm-hmm.
And then, so not only the desire to want more, but also the courage to actually like try to do it. So, 'cause, like, I didn't know if I was going to be a millionaire internet marketer or whatever. Like, I didn't even really know if that was the goal in the beginning. It's like I said, I just wanted to make some extra money, but not being afraid, like really just jumping in is what
Yeah.
it comes down to. Just like literally like the ability to jump into something and apply yourself to something, whether it's going to work out or not, whether it's going to work out or not. The ability to jump in and pursue something, because even if it's different and even if it's not inside of the skill sets that you presently have, um, just the ability to jump in with both feet, I think, is really important to have if you want to get anywhere in life. I mean, otherwise, you're kind of going to be at other people's beck and calls, really living somebody else's life, being told what to do by other people, if you don't have that ability or the desire to want more for yourself, and the desire to achieve it regardless of what it takes.
Wow. Wow. Yeah, that's so true, right? You got to just jump in. Just jumping in. Yeah, that's a good way to put it. And that's,
Yeah.
yeah, and it just turns into stuff, right?
Yeah.
um so it seems like from the beginning of what you're saying, just jumping in, being so open. And a key thing that I think that I heard at the beginning was that you were very accepting. You were like accepting of being like a broke artist, like forever, like you were just going to do that, and just like
Yeah.
have like less money than a millionaire internet marketer, and you were just cool with that. Do you think
Yeah.
that
Well,
you think that kind of like helped towards you like building up to where you are now?
yeah. Well, you know what? I think the lack of money teaches you to appreciate the things that you have a little more. Like, I mean, if you don't have something and you acquire something, you tend to appreciate it more than if it was given to you.
Definitely.
Um, and so, like, my family just didn't grow up with money, so I've never really operated from a place of like, I don't know, like I've always tried to appreciate the things that I do have. And so I think that appreciation has kind of extended itself out into other aspects of my life. Like financially is one, I make money. I appreciate it. I appreciate the customers that, that bought something that gives me money. I appreciate that in a different way. So like an example, I see, in business, as we've grown our business, it's less about like numbers to me and more about like, holy shit, like we generated 100 customers today, like 100 people decided to put their trust and faith in us and buy our products. So it's not like, it's less about like the numbers and more about the people and the impact that you're having, and being able to appreciate that. And I think when you can operate from that more of that kind of mentality, I think it I just think it pays positive, dividends in the end. But yeah, I mean, being open though it's just key, man. It's just like, cause opportunities are everywhere, dude. I mean,
Yeah.
just be open to them, because they're going to, the only constant with opportunities is that they're going to present themselves at times that you don't expect. And
Yeah.
so, being in the mindset to, just to ride the waves as they come is, I think it's really important.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. That's really cool. That's really cool the way it all came about for you. Literally starving artist to like not starving artist anymore.
Yeah. No, not at all. But you know what though? Okay, to go back to the art thing, I was just passionate about it.
Mm,
So it didn't matter like, I guess not having money really my whole life, um, that I guess that was an attribute towards like being comfortable operating in that kind of space.
yeah.
But at the same time, it didn't bother me because I was so passionate about art. And like, literally, even if I didn't make any money at all doing it, I was passionate about it. Like I typically, if I paint, I get into a flow state, and I just love it. I love, and I'm good at it. And, it's just a passion of mine. So, it was, to me, it was a trade-off of, do I necessarily want riches, or do I want to do something that, really energizes me and makes me want to get out of bed every morning?
Mm,
And the other cool thing is that has shifted. Like now I try to do art here and, every now and then. Like I don't even have a studio or anything set up. I was just talking to my wife earlier today that, when we get more established and moved into this new house that we're in, I'd love to set a studio up and keep painting and everything. But now, one of my passions is building businesses. And, now fortunately I get to wake up and that energizes me, and I get to wake up every morning and do that. So it's just
yeah.
about, I think, trying to align your passion with, some vehicle to experience more happiness in daily life.
Yeah.
So, for me, that was art in the past, and now it's building businesses. And, maybe one day the two can intersect, and I can help artists build businesses and something cool like that. But, you know,
Yeah. Yeah. That's so, yeah, I really, that's really admirable. The whole coming from the art aspect and then like moving into businesses. And
hmm
so when it comes
thanks, man.
to, oh, no problem. No problem at all. When it comes to mindset, how would you describe your mindset aside from like the openness and everything like that today as a business builder, a brand builder? How would you describe the mindset that it took and that it takes for you to like keep succeeding, keep pushing forward?
Um, so this is a good question, and it's like, I don't want to be too vague with the answer. Um, but you got, honestly, with the mindset, like when it comes to building a business in particular, or really not even just a business, when it comes to acquiring a skill to further your life, you need to have the mindset of, I'm going to do this. Like I'm going to do it, and I'm going to put in the work, and I'm going to do what it takes, and I'm going to learn. And then I think so. On the flip side of that, being able to reflect on the work that you do and be honest with yourself and say, what work did I do? Did it work or did it not work? What do I need to change, and how can I grow from it? And the mindset of always trying to be in a place of learning, in a place of wanting to grow, the desire to grow, I think, is very underrated. Um, a lot of people say that they want to grow, but they don't take the steps to, or put in the work that will lead to the
Mm,
growth.
mm,
So
yeah.
they're kind of stuck in this, on this hamster wheel of like wanting to grow but never growing. And so just like the mindset of like, it's not going to work itself out. It's going to work out because you make it work. And like,
Yeah.
yeah, there's going to be breaks and luck along the way, but lo and behold, the more work you do, the more lucky breaks you're going to experience. So,
Mm,
so like that, like you create your own luck by creating momentum, and you create momentum by showing up every day and doing the work, and being conscious of the work that you do, and being honest with yourself, and then reflect on the work that you do, and look for opportunity, like identify opportunities to grow inside yourself, and with the work you do, and when you're productive and how you're productive, just put in the work, man, and but show up, and come with a passion, man. Come with a passion and the fire, and figure it out. Like
yeah.
I didn't know shit, dude. I literally was an art major. I didn't know anything. I didn't even like business. Like I didn't even like stocking books in the business section at Barnes and Noble. Like it was just so boring to me, man. And I was like, and I never like had to learn anything like that. Cause I'm like, oh, I'm going to be an artist. I don't need to learn math or business. This is
Yeah.
great. And, and so like, I'm literally like a self-taught marketer, entrepreneur, business dude from the age of like 20. So like, and I'm 31 now. So last 11 years, some people have like Gary V, he was like
Yeah.
literally born with the entrepreneur gene. I was not. So if
Yeah.
I can teach myself this stuff, then I mean, pretty much anybody can. It's just, I had a passion for it and a lot of sleepless nights and a lot of doing what it took to make it work. But, I can also look back and say, I've started, 3 companies now and 4, 5 companies now. And, they're pretty successful. So,
Yeah. Yeah. And kudos to that, like, to doing that. That's actually amazing that you're able to do that, because some people spend their whole lives, right? And they can't even get it off the ground.
yeah, yeah, it's true. And they can, there's layers of self-sabotage, I think, that prevent them from it, but they sometimes they just subconsciously choose not to. I think
Yeah.
is more what it comes down to.
Yeah. Yeah. I've seen a lot of that with people, self-sabotage. It's very sneaky.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. Well, yeah, because everybody has internal voices, and it really takes a strong will and a lot of commitment to turn a negative internal voice into a positive one. But I think that just again comes down to the whole mindset thing of like do what it takes. And if you know that
Yeah.
if you have like negative self-talk, um, trying to identify that and start to correct it is just another thing that you're gonna have to do. Because it's really hard to succeed when you're your worst critic. Honestly, everybody's always going to be their worst critic, but it's really hard to succeed when you constantly tell yourself all the reasons that it's not going to. And so if you can correct that, then, and if you can have the belief in yourself, I mean, like Conor McGregor, just a like real world example, like
Yeah.
he will never lose a fight in his own mind. Like even when he gets the shit kicked out of him, like in his mind, he's still like the champion.
Yeah.
And so like whether he wins a fight or loses, like he at least shows up knowing that he's already the champion. So, if you could apply that same, kind of principle to your own life, then I mean, how far is it going to take you?
That's very true. That's very true. So going back to when you were 20, you were accepting that you were going to be an artist, that you're going
Hmm.
to not have that much money. You're already in that mindset. What brought about the shift that you were all of a sudden going to start learning this, and all of a sudden you went through those sleepless nights and you started building? Like, what brought about the shift that you were going to go from artist to marketing, brand builder, the man that you are today? Like, how did you actually shift that way of thinking?
Well, it comes down to the desire for more. Cause so like I was kind of resigned to the fact that I was not going to have a lot of money being an artist, like going
Mhm.
at the track that I was presently on back then. I knew that I wasn't going to make a lot of money. And I was okay with that. But then in comes, this whole marketing world kind of cracked open a door into this fantasy world of marketing and millionaires and, underwear, riches and all that. And, so what it really was is that I saw a potential for more, and not only just financially, but just like to have more in my life, to have more like more fulfillment in my life in other areas, and being able to provide for, 'cause, like, at the time I was 20, I was single at that time, shortly after I started dating a woman that I eventually married 5 years ago. And it was kind of just around that time where I'm like, I started wanting more for my life. I wanted to give more to other people. I wanted to be able to provide more and to have more security for myself, my family, when I had one day. And, I started looking into it, and I started attaching this marketing and this vehicle of business as the vehicle that could get me to that place of security and place where I could do more and I could have more. And so it became less about being comfortable and more about wanting to expand beyond the areas of comfort to potentially have more than what I did. And
Yeah.
so, and that was my why. And so, and it's really hard. Like when you get fixated on something, it doesn't have to be like to become a millionaire or something, but when you get fixated on something and like, and you want it and you can visualize yourself in it or having it or doing it, it's really hard to unattach from it, you know, in some cases, if you want it bad enough. And so in this case, you know, seeing a world, it wasn't just like, I didn't just want to do it to like buy, you know, like a fancy car, or like a Ferrari or something.
Yeah.
It was more of like, it was a lifestyle. It was a life that I thought I could have. It was like an enhanced version of a life that I didn't know was possible. And so once you start visualizing that and seeing that in your mind, it's really, you can't unsee it, you know? And so I just started, so that was my why. And so to me, I was basically working from having really nothing to having a life that I didn't think was possible. And it was really hard to extract myself from that and, you know, and keep doing what I was doing, knowing that I could potentially have more if I just worked hard enough for it.
Wow. So it was like once you saw it, you couldn't unsee it, and you had to go for it.
Hmm.
So back to the desire for more. How do you, like, because I want to give people value when they listen to these interviews. How can you inspire, like, how can you, I want somebody who like knows that there's more out there. How can you
Hmm.
get them to actually want to pursue that more? Like, well, what is it that happened in you that you wanted to really pursue the more?
Man.
It's hard to explain. I'm trying to like kind of
Yeah,
craft
it's
it,
hard.
but
Well, I guess like, kind of just being real with yourself, right? Like, I think it starts with like taking maybe a subconscious inventory of who you are and where you are, and just, you know, getting real with yourself in terms of like, is like, after you take that inventory of the person that you are, where you are in life, who you surround yourself with, your habits, like all that stuff, like, are you happy with that? And or if you're not happy with it, then it's no one else's responsibility but yours to change it.
yeah,
And so there's the first part is creating, you know, doing the inventory. Step number two is analyzing the inventory and understanding and really getting clear if that's what you want or not. And if it's something that you want to change, if you want to surround yourself with, you know, people that can, you know, enhance your life in better ways. If you want, you know, if you want to do, you know, work that's more fulfilling outside of the financial reward for it. If you aren't, you know, if you aren't fulfilled in the work that you do, you know, you can change it. I mean, the cool thing is like all this is in your control. Like, you're not a slave to like any 9 to 5 job. Like, yeah, you might need to work to make money, but I was working 45 hours a week, you know, in the beginning when I first started marketing, and I would work basically from 9 to 5, you know, 5 days a week. And then I would come home, I would eat dinner, and then I would work until 2, 3 a.m. and then pass out and do it again. Some days, like, you know, if it was busy, I would work all night, and then I would just go to work the next morning. I would just like pull all nighters. Like, I did what it took because I wanted, you know, a better life for myself. And so, um, you know, you can change anything that you want to, man. If you need to build new habits, you can build new habits. You can think, you can visualize yourself in a better life. And if you can visualize it, you can kind of reverse engineer the steps that it's going to take to achieve something like that. And I think if you're brave enough, you can do it.
yeah, definitely, definitely. And I like that you brought up habits. That brings me
Hmm.
to like the next part of things. I mean, well, it's a free flowing conversation, but habits came up. So
Yeah.
I want to, what habits did you have to instill in yourself in order to become this person that you are now? Like what did it take? And also what did you have to get rid of in order to change?
Yeah. So I mean, the first thing is you have to, you have to become a problem solver. And I mean, it might sound weird, but like, you have to stop relying on other people to solve your problems, and you have to figure out how to solve your own problems. And that's probably the most, I mean, it's the hardest habit to teach because like, if you don't know how to do something, it's a lot easier to just ask somebody what the answer is than figure it out yourself. And yeah, the act of figuring it out yourself creates the mental muscle to achieve more than just figuring out that problem. It teaches you how to figure out problems in life and like with
Yes.
people and interpersonal problems, and like just basically like survive and to create things on your own. um, the the habit of taking action on something, and I think this is most prevalent in internet marketers or people that want to like start a business. I think that they get kind of wrapped up in this, like this cycle of learning where they just feel like they have to constantly be learning something and like going through a course or listening to podcasts or reading books. And all they really do is they just like keep learning, but they never really apply anything. And it's the act of applying it that gives you the experience that will in turn give you the confidence to do more. And if you just put yourself in this like cycle of like having to learn new stuff and like always like researching and studying, you're never really going to do anything. Like you're at the end of the day, you're going to be busy the whole time, like all day, but you're not going to have gone anywhere. It's like a hamster wheel.
Yeah.
And so, so the two habits that I found most beneficial in my life is learn how to solve problems. And we can get, a little more granular on that too, but being able to learn how to solve problems and then putting in the time to take action on things that you learn are probably the two. I mean, if you do that, like if you know how to solve problems and you can take action to solve them, like what can't you do?
That's so true. That's so true. That's very, very well put. Very well put. Huh. So let's go deeper into solving problems. How did you build that muscle? Because all these things are just muscles that we can strengthen or we could let atrophy if we just like ignore them.
Mm-hmm.
So how did you actually grow that muscle of solving problems?
Well, so in the beginning, so really like any problem, if you know what the problem is, you can figure out how to solve it. I mean, that's like literally all Elon Musk did to build, Tesla, before shit went down. He just like, he wanted to make a better car, right? So he just like re-engineered how a car operates and he created Tesla.
Yeah.
So I think like to solve any problem, you need to know what the problem you're solving is. And so being able to identify what the problem actually is and like walk around it. And like, even if it's like, I go analog all the time. So like, I like write stuff down. I have like notebook upon notebook. And sometimes for me, it helped, like when I have a problem or a challenge that I'm trying to like overcome or figure out, it really helps me just to like, kind of like impact filter what the problem is, which is what's the problem? Why does it matter? What happens if you solve it? What happens if you don't solve it? And then what are the steps or the milestones involved with solving the problem? And so if you just do that, like run it through an impact filter, and then if being able to clearly identify what the problem is, and then just like if you know what the problem is, you can kind of reverse engineer like what the ideal outcome is and what the steps to achieving that outcome are, which theoretically would solve the problem.
Yeah.
It can kind of like, you kind of work itself out with a much less complicated answer. Just like fucking Google it, dude. I mean, in the beginning, when I first got into marketing, I didn't know how to set up a website or like connect it to hosting or how to buy a domain name or anything. So I went to YouTube and I searched for how to buy a domain name.
Yeah.
I didn't know what URL meant. So I Googled URL and I figured that out easily enough. Had a YouTube how to set up an HTML web page. Like I literally taught myself all the basics of marketing, but not by taking a course or reading a book or anything. I literally just Googled it and learned how to hack everything together with, YouTube videos.
Yeah.
And so, like small example, I'm not saying like go and build a Tesla car factory. I mean, like we're talking about setting up a web page here. So
Yeah.
it's not like overcomplicated, but, I mean, just like, but being able to do that yourself though. So like early on, I figured out how to do it myself. And then from there on out, I could set up web pages and connect hosting and like all that cool stuff and like buy domains, which turned into an addiction later on. And, but doing that though, gives you the confidence to do more. And so it was like a small string of those little things that I taught myself how to do that eventually culminated in being able to set up an internet business. And that eventually made me some money. And then, I kind of rolled that forward from one success to the next and learned a lot as I went, learned not only the theory of the marketing side of it, but also like tactically how to do it and how to like set it up.
Yeah.
And, those things start to collect over time and they culminate in bigger and bigger wins.
Wow. Wow. That's pretty, I like that theory because as a videographer and a video editor, that's exactly what I did. Like I'm self-taught. I didn't go to film school. I just kind of bought equipment and then just started using it. And anytime there
Yeah.
was a problem, you literally just Google it.
But I mean, okay, so with editing though, I mean, like, do you learn more from like getting in there and like figuring out like hitting buttons in the interface and like editing, or do you learn more from like reading, video editing for dummies?
I
Like
I literally, my friend gave me a Essentials to Premiere Pro.
Mm-hmm.
I had it for about 4 years and learned absolutely nothing. I couldn't even get through the first part of it. And then one day I bought a GoPro, a little knockoff GoPro, and I
Yeah.
started shooting vlog episodes. And within 30
Dude.
days, I knew how to edit videos, no problem.
See, man, and now look at you, like
Yeah,
now it's like a career for you. So it's just, it's like, but getting in there, dude, like getting in there. I mean, I think the hard part, and maybe the part of it that is more daunting for people is that you can't shortcut the experience.
yeah,
I have like someone like a really competitive racquetball player too, which most people have like never heard of racquetball, but it's actually kind of a big thing out there.
yeah.
Um, so the the guy that taught me how to play racquetball, so my dad taught me how to play racquetball when I was like 14, but like I used to play. He was basically a pro. He was like number 40 on the pro tour. So
Okay.
in case you didn't know, there's a pro tour racquetball as well. That's a big thing, I promise you. But so he was like number 40 on the pro tour. So the guy was like super good. And I remember asking him when I was 16 years old. I was, he would like always like, him and my dad were friends, so like he would always play me, maybe like once a month or something, just to like shut me up because I would
Yeah,
ask him all the time.
yeah.
And I remember asking him one time. I was 16. I was like, man, I really want to be as good as you one day. What do I have to do? And his answer was, he's like, court time, man. There's no substitution for court time. And
Hmm.
and I think that really stuck with me though, because I was 16, so I was like that predated my marketing career. But I'm like, I knew how good he was at racquetball, and I'm like, there's no sub for court time. All right, I got it. And then, just that lesson kind of, I've applied it to several areas of my life, but there's no substitution for experience. So like court time is in life is, the experience of like doing stuff, like taking action, getting it done, investing the time to do it. And the experience you gain from doing it rather than from studying, like trying to like learn how to do it, is infinitely more powerful, than anything else. So there's no sub for court time, man.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. I'm gonna remember that. There's no substitution for core time. It's so true. There's none. There's nothing. I can explain so much of like how to edit videos or shoot podcasts or anything, and there's just
Yeah.
no substitution. Like some people ask me how to do interviews, and I'm like, man, you gotta sit in front of somebody and just like do it a couple
Yeah.
times.
Well, you gotta, yeah. So like step one is to like do one and suck it up. And then step two is to do a second one and probably suck that one too. And then like 1, 2, skip a few, and like your 100th episode is probably gonna be pretty good.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
just, there's
yeah.
no other way though.
Yeah, it's so true. My first episode of this podcast was just terrible, man. I did it after getting a 4-hour tattoo, and
Ooh.
I interviewed the tattoo artist after, and yeah, the camera angles were just all bad. I was moving the camera, I was holding one, there was another one pointed at us. It
It
was
was
all
that
bad.
the is that the mushroom tattoo right there or
It was
what?
actually this one. I got another mushroom tattoo. Actually,
Dude,
this one.
how many mushroom tattoos do you have?
Oh man, I got this one, and then I got one. I got one right there,
Oh
and
shit,
then
okay.
and then I got
So you're a big mushroom fan.
yes, sir.
Oh, so you got, dude, that whole arm is mushrooms.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And then I got this one in Hawaii. It's pretty sick.
Oh yeah, that's awesome, man.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
just started getting into the tattoo game myself.
Really? This one actually says the process. That's why this one's special. First
Oh,
episode
giddy
right
up. All
here.
right then.
Yeah.
Was that like to commemorate starting something new?
Yeah, man. The first episode, I was supposed to interview this tattoo artist, and he canceled on me when I was like right at his doorstep. And
No.
I was like, man, this is not happening. So I just went to another tattoo artist, and I'm like, if I can interview you, I'll let you tattoo me. And she was like, cool. And I had to drop 4 bills on the first interview, but
Dude, started
tattoo.
off though. Started
Yeah,
off right.
exactly. Kicked it off well. So yeah, no substitute for court time. Definitely. So tell me about your first business, your first shot at this whole thing when you started.
So well, the first thing, like I said, I got into marketing through affiliate marketing.
Yeah.
And so that, I mean, for people that don't know what that is, it's basically like marketing other people's products. And when you sell those products, you make a commission on the sale.
Yeah.
And the cool thing with that is it's a really low barrier way to start marketing, because you don't have to spend the time or money learning how to create products of your own. you basically just like shuttle traffic. It's like a referral program. So you get traffic from wherever to this offer through your affiliate link. And if they buy it, you make money.
Okay.
So to me, when I started, that seemed like the easiest way to get started, like get my skin in the game and figure out like how to drive traffic and how to, how to create an offer that somebody would, want to engage with and eventually buy. And so first couple like low key businesses were just like affiliate marketing businesses showing people. So what I would do is actually I would go to, I'll tell you exactly what I did. So I would go to the clickbank.com, which is basically just a marketplace that sells digital products.
Yeah.
And so like just a bunch of vendors that sell products for any niche or market out there. And so I would go to these and so I would go to ClickBank and I would find products that I thought looked really good that had and on ClickBank, it shows you like how they convert and how many people are promoting that product and all that kind of stuff. So I would go and I would find products to promote on there. And then I would hit up the product owner and say, hey, I want to promote this as an affiliate. Can I get a review copy of it? I want to write a review for it and rank that review in Google with SEO and get traffic that way. So my whole early plan, because I was trying to start like in as easy of a way as possible. So I didn't want to create a product, so affiliate marketing for that. And then I didn't have a lot of money to spend on advertising, and I didn't know like anything about advertising, but I knew that search engine optimization could get me free traffic if I just spent the time writing the content. So being that I had no money anyway, I'm like, well, I don't really have any options. I'll just do this. So it's a really easy thought process for me. So hit the dude up, got review products of the review copies of the products. I would write a review. I would write the review in a WordPress page. I would, because I knew how to set everything up because of YouTube. And I would rank the reviews for like product name review. And a couple of the earlier ones that I reviewed were about dog training. And so, it was just basically a whole product on dog training. It's a clicker system. And so I'd write a review on the program, and I'm like, well, I'm not even using it, by the way. So I didn't even use it. It's not like I have 2 dogs now. I didn't have any back then. So I would just like literally like go through the product and write an opinion that I had on the product. Like, this is good because of this. It's bad because of this. So if you have this kind of dog in this kind of situation, it's going to be really good for you. Here's who should buy it. Here's who shouldn't buy it. And then I would create a bonus for the product where I would find like a way that I could add value to the product that wasn't currently in there. And then when they bought the product through my affiliate link, I would email them the bonus afterwards. And so, and then that was like literally the whole thing. And so I would rank that in Google for like clicker system review. Really easy to do, run a bunch of backlinks to it. And so I had to learn how to do SEO, how to rank web pages in Google. Again, primarily from Google searching and from YouTube videos. And so that was it. So my first official internet marketing business was reviewing affiliate products and ranking those reviews in Google. And I got up to, it was like about $100 a day selling them. Like I was kind of balling out pretty hard, man. Cause I was like 20, 22 years old, worked at Barnes and Noble. So probably bringing home maybe like $200 a week, I want to say.
Wow.
Which is like not balling hard at all.
Yeah.
And then so going from that to making like $50 to $100 a day with affiliate marketing, I'm like, man, dude, let me get that Porsche.
Wow.
So
wow. A big thing in what you just said, you kind of touched on this before when you were talking about impact. How did you know to provide that extra value to people? Like what made you think of that?
well, I think I probably learned it earlier on from probably an affiliate marketing training program out
Okay.
there. But really, I think what it was is why would someone want to buy the program through my link versus just going and buying it through the dude's link?
Yeah.
So like what incentive was there? And, one of the early things that I learned through researching everything is that you can convert more people through your link if you give them a reason why. And that reason why is stronger if they're with the reason why they should buy from you is stronger in relation to how much value you're adding to the transaction.
Yeah.
So if you had if you just give them like a pat on the back, that's not a very strong incentive. If you give them something like the missing chapter of the dog training book that, like something, whatever. So like if you get like the higher the value, the more likely they are to to buy through your link. So, just as a value add to customers, like how can I enhance their experience here to where they want to do business with me, instead of just directly through the vendor. And so, I would just look for, as I was going through and writing the review of the product, I would also look for different things that I thought that I could add to it or that I could create as a bonus, and do that. And so, and honestly, like so that whole model of creating affiliate reviews, I did that for a lot of products, not just the dog training space. But what I would do is I would interview the guy that made the product, guy or lady that made the product. And I would say, hey, like you talked about this in the course, I really want to go deep on it. And, I want to use that as a bonus through my affiliate promotion. And they would always be down because I would be promoting their product. And I would have them go like really deep into like one little thing that they kind of just like more or less glazed over in the course.
Yeah.
And, and then so I could position that as like, here's the missing chapter on X, or, the deep dive on Y that's going to help you implement this program, training, et cetera, so much easier than if you just bought the course itself. And, it worked really well. So, but not just like, I mean, that's like a really granular example of adding value to a program. I think what it comes down to is how can you add more value and, help someone do something easier or better or faster, or more efficiently.
Yeah.
So it's just value add, man.
Yeah. And how long ago was this? This was like when you were what, 22?
Yeah. So this is like the first 3 years of my marketing career. I did the affiliate stuff because I first got into it. When I first got into marketing, I started with affiliate marketing.
Yeah.
And so it wasn't until like 3 or 4 years into it that I started like creating my own products and, doing that end of it as well. But yeah, so for first 3 years, I would do the affiliate marketing game, and it worked out really well, man. And then like, so what I eventually did is I would do the affiliate marketing stuff and sell products. And then I kind of like stair step that into like, I tried to think about how I could leverage what I had done as efficiently as possible.
Yeah.
And so the next step I did is I basically like documented how I was setting up those affiliate sites. And then I turned that into a training program on how to do it yourself, and how to make another 50 to $100 a day setting up affiliate review sites. So then that kind of launched a pivot in the career of teaching internet marketing, and then grew that into pretty sizable business in and of itself. And then ended up launching a coaching program on how to do that in addition to a product line. And then it was a couple of years after that. So this is like year 5 of the internet marketing journey.
Yeah.
That so I had been teaching marketing, and by this time I'd partnered with my friend Darren, and he was my partner basically almost through this whole time.
Mm-hmm.
And so we would share in a lot of the successes, and he would set up a lot of the technical things, and we'd kick strategy and everything around, and it was really fun. And so it was at that point in time that I was creating another product for a fitness product. It was an interview series, actually, very similar to what you're doing here. Kind of predated podcasts, actually. So I would interview like 5 to 10 people on a given topic. I would put them all into one product, and then they would promote, that interview series as a core product.
Wow.
And and so I was putting that together, and I interviewed this one dude named Greg O'Gallagher from Kinobody.
Okay.
And so that's how I found him. And it was like he's basically running a tiny blog at the time. It had about 30,000 unique visitors a month, but like zero marketing at all. And yet there were a lot of indicators that led me to believe it could be a bigger brand than what it was. And so like he had a really definable system for getting into shape, like fitness and nutrition and all that. Very, like really innovative content, and a lot of case studies on people, from people that had applied his workout advice and gotten into really good shape.
Mm-hmm.
And he had like like 30,000 visitors a month is nothing to sneeze at, right?
Of course.
And yet no marketing at all. And so after that interview that I did with him, I was like, dude, listen, you're a fitness expert, I'm a marketing dude. Like our powers combined, we could probably build something really cool here. So I offered him to my offer was I'll do your marketing for free in exchange for a percentage of the profits that I grow out of your business. And so he accepted, and the rest is history, man. That business is going to do about probably 10 to 15 million this year.
Wow.
Yeah.
Holy man.
So
That speaks directly to what you were saying is opportunities will come. Like you just had that momentum going, and then
yeah,
things just kept going. You just like you bumped into this opportunity pretty much. Just
yeah. Well, here's the thing though. So like talking about building on, leveraging existing successes and then being open to opportunities. So here's where it comes full circle. I on the interview, actually at the end of the interview, he crushed it. Like we were going back and forth, and he was talking about fitness and all this and that. And at the end of the interview, I was like, "Hey, so I want to give you an opportunity to plug any product of yours that you have. I'm going to promote it as an affiliate. So, like what product do you want to link out to in the show notes here?" And he's like, "Well, I don't really have any products. I just have a coaching program." And I was like, well, because like my thought is that, all right, so I'm going to interview these people. I'm going to promote their product through the interview through my affiliate link, and then they're going to promote the interview product as a package. So they promote that. I kind of build a list through symbiosis of everybody else promoting it,
yeah,
and then I get a commission on the back end through the profits if they buy individual products through the interview course.
of course.
So it's a big like elaborate web, right? But so it was affiliate marketing. It was basically like a crowdsourced affiliate marketing product that I would leverage through other people's audiences to build a list and to sell products through the affiliate platform. So Greg didn't have an affiliate program for his products, and yet he only had one product at the time, but he was making all his money basically from online coaching. And so I was like, dude, I can basically all the things that I did in the past to build products and like set up affiliate marketing systems, I can just install that in this business, and with your audience size, we could like kill it month one. And
Yeah,
so, just took that experience, rolled it into this business and partnered with them. And, the first month, like, he was making a couple grand from online coaching sales. The first month though, we went from like 2,000 to almost 8,000 the first month, it just selling digital products through injecting some marketing into it where there was none. So, I mean, it was like, dude, it's cool, man. So that was, the first foray into, and actually that product, when I originally partnered with him and we started doing his marketing, we kind of stopped coaching and doing the internet marketing as a service ourselves and just focused on building his business, and eventually became 50-50 partners in it. And yeah, so that's but just being open to the opportunity, man. It's yeah, it was fun. It's been a
that's
fun ride.
that's incredible, man. Wow, just that one, and it shows that like you putting your head down, working all those sleepless nights really led to all of a sudden you were prepared for this.
Hmm.
Like because if you didn't put in
Yeah.
that work at the beginning, you definitely wouldn't have been prepared. You wouldn't even known what to do with what he was saying.
Yeah, exactly. And so just being able to having the experience though of having done it myself and knowing what it takes, and then being able to look at his business and recognize the indicators that could lead to a successful business. I think that's where the rubber hit the road.
Yeah,
And it's just so that because of my experience that I could see the opportunity, and because I'd conditioned myself to take action on the opportunities, I was able to like basically pitch them, and it all worked out obviously. But that's kind of what it's about, man. Just, you need the at bats, but you also need the experience to know how to hit the ball when you're at bat.
yeah,
So
yeah. Wow. Wow, that's actually a very inspiring. I didn't know all that. That part I did not know at all. I looked into it a bit online. I saw the whole I believe Kino body. But I didn't know that this is how it happened so serendipitously.
yeah, man, it's crazy though. I mean, and that's ah, it was the easy. I don't know, man. So now you didn't ask this, but I'm going to answer it anyway.
Of
If I
course.
had to start over like today from scratch, um, honestly, what I would do, knowing what I know now, is I would look for other opportunities like that Kino body, where there's a site that has like indicators of success. And by that, I mean, like, is there traffic? Is there a definable audience that the person or the website is serving? Is it under optimized? Are there like, can you optimize a sales funnel? Can you create additional products that they may not have that the audience may want? So different, things like that through, different filters like that, you can analyze, certain opportunities, and if a website is something you could scale. And I would look for websites like that are just under optimized that I can go in there and tweak some things on and then scale. And I would offer to do that for free in exchange for a percentage of the upside. So it's a zero, opportunity cost for the person in question. For you, if you're confident in what you can do, then, there's really no opportunity cost for you either.
Yeah.
And you're not going from 0 to 1. You're really taking something from 1 to 2 and building it in a better way. So that's what I would do if I had to start all over.
That's really good to hear, because a lot of people who might be stuck in the whole 9 to 5 kind of mindset, kind of survival jobs type of thing, or the people who are just starting out in this whole journey of like becoming an entrepreneur, trying to do what you're doing, they have a big problem with working for free.
Yeah.
Can you speak to that a little? Because you just said that you would work for free even though you're in the position you're in if you had to start all over again. Why is it that you would work for free?
So I would work for free to get the at bat. I mean, it really what it comes down to, because if you, I guess like I might be in a different position because I'm confident in the results that I could produce. But you work for free so you can prove yourself that you can do what you say you can do. I mean, if someone was like, dude, I will skyplode your company, then the first thing I would think of is like, okay, well, if you could do that, and if you're confident that you can skyplode my company, then I'll give you a percentage of how much you skyplode it. And so like, how can you make it as easy? I guess like really good question is like, how can you make it a win-win for you and them? And if you know that you can produce a result, then there's really no risk in you doing the work for free because you know that the result is going to be had. So can you invest your time to create the result knowing that the upside is going to be equally advantageous for both of you guys? And because in the beginning, like, like you either have time or money, right? And if you don't have money, then hopefully you have the time or you can make the time. And that's just how I would choose to approach it, man. I would try to lead with results first and let the results speak for themselves so that you don't have to convince anybody of anything. You just show them the results.
True.
I don't know if that answered the question or not, but I mean, there's really no other way to do it. I mean, like, no one likes to work for free, but like, if you're confident in yourself, then, the work's going to speak for itself.
No, I completely agree. I mean, when I started out, I couldn't find any video gigs when I first got my camera set up and everything. And I just put an ad out on Kijiji. I'm like, videographer for free. And I got my first gig from there. And then that was my first portfolio piece. And then I just shopped that around.
Yeah. But then from there, yeah, dude, then you have something to point back to,
Exactly.
They're like, if you don't have a portfolio, like, it's okay. So as an artist, right? If I were to pursue the career in art, if I had a master's degree in fine arts, but I didn't have a portfolio, I would not be considered even in the slightest, because the portfolio speaks for itself. But if I had like no college education at all, but my portfolio is banging, I would get the job over like anybody else. So how can you create a portfolio that's going to land you the job or the opportunity that you're trying to get? And sometimes, like, if you don't have a portfolio, you got to make one. It doesn't mean like an art portfolio. Like, you need a portfolio of work that you've done or results that you've achieved that you can bring to somebody and say, I can do this. Like, I can do this for you as well.
Yeah.
And if you don't have a portfolio, then you do it for free. You get the result, you build a portfolio, and you just roll it forward from there. But that's kind of the whole creating your own opportunities and being able to suck it up for a period of time so that it can lead to bigger opportunities that you can leverage in the future.
Yeah, it's very true. It's very true. Yeah, I just wanted you to speak to that because so many people probably have the skill set in order to succeed, but don't have that portfolio and just aren't willing to just take that chance and just do something for free. It's just, I don't know. I've done it so many times and it's always led to such great things.
Yeah, I mean, for you, it probably only took one video shoot, like shooting and editing, and then you have like that one case study. And, that's something you can point back to, even though for you, you probably did it after hours or around something else. And,
yeah,
I mean, presumably, but, you get one of those in the can and all of a sudden you have something to point back to show the quality work that you can produce.
Yeah.
So then,
and for me, right away, as soon as I saw that happen, I was like, oh, I'm going to do another thing for free, like a better thing. I'm going to find like a better, bigger thing and do it for free, and then
yeah.
And then I got to the point like a few years ago where I was like, I'm gonna stop doing things for free unless it like really brings value to like my heart and my
Hmm.
bottom line as like a person, the things I want to achieve, you know?
Yeah, there's this is the other thing. I'll talk about like this. I mean, it's a really niched example, but video editors right now, like the shooting and editing of videos, I think is like probably one of the most in-demand skills right now with the rise of like Facebook advertising, Facebook and YouTube advertising, and Instagram, just any video-based advertising. If you can be our videos for Truth Nutra, which is the one of the last companies that I started that I also recently just left. Truth Nutra, some of our video ads have over 100 million views on them.
Wow.
So like crazy amount of advertising, crazy amount of impressions. And I mean, it's cool that like we have one editor in house, like one video editor. So like literally his video editing is being seen by over 100 million people.
Wow.
So I think as a video editor, you have a really unique advantage in that you can find companies that do video advertising, offer to like like editing for them for free, and then use that as a portfolio case or a piece in your portfolio to approach other companies that either don't do video advertising or that, or maybe like they do advertising but it's like subpar editing,
Yeah.
and like land yourself some really lucrative opportunities just by doing a couple free gigs for companies that are already crushing it. So
Very true. Very true. Hope that any editors out there are taking notes as this is coming from somebody who's like in the helm kind of right now, you know.
yeah.
Can you tell me a bit about Truth Nutra at all? How that came to be and what's going on with that right now at all?
Yeah, sure. So Truth Nutra is about 4 years old now, 3.5, 4 years old. And the so how it came to be is Kinobody, Greg O'Gallagher, who we partnered with at Kinobody, he was doing a podcast in the past called the Road to Ripped podcast with a guy named Christopher Walker.
Yeah.
And Christopher Walker was based in LA. Greg's up in Toronto, actually. Chris was out of LA. And he's like super freaking smart dude, super down to earth and everything, a really cool guy, but his story is insane. Like when he was 19, he suffered with a brain tumor. He had a brain tumor that basically blocked all production of testosterone in his body. And as a 19-year-old dude with like no testosterone, all the side effects that creates for you is really demasculinizing. And you have like no libido, you have like stubborn body fat, like
Wow.
depressed, no drive, no nothing. And so he went to the doctor, and they finally found that there was this brain tumor. It's benign, so it's not cancerous or anything. But the doctors at the time, when like 19 years old, dude, the doctor says, okay, we're either going to go in and surgically remove it, or we can give you androgel, which is synthetic hormone, and you can take that for the rest of your life. Oh, by the way, after you start taking it, your body literally won't be able to produce any of its own natural testosterone for the rest of your life. So this is either a life sentence for synthetic T, or we can try to surgically remove it, which could possibly have life-altering personality side effects.
Wow.
And and at 19, you're like, fuck, that's pretty deep. So Chris opted for neither of those two paths and decided to try to figure out how to increase his testosterone naturally, which he was actually a neuroscience major at Duke University. So he's able to leverage the all the research and everything through Duke University to figure out how to hack his own testosterone to higher levels from like basically nothing all the way to far beyond what's now the medical reference range of testosterone. And he did it all naturally himself and collected all that into a book that he eventually released online called, I think it was called testosterone.io back in the day. So long story short, I met Chris through his friendship with Greg, and we started talking and everything. And he eventually, him, and two of my other partners at the time ended up coming together as 4 shareholders, starting another company, which is Truth Nutra, and took all of his research that he did on natural hormone optimization and created a supplement line of products for helping people do the same through all the natural means that he found worked for him.
Wow.
So that's Truth Nutra in a nutshell. So now, I mean, at this point, I mean, how that's probably going to do 10 million this year as well. and it is, a big team. Like it started with the four of us, and now it's about 30, 35 people. I think 35 to 40 people now, actually, based out of Boulder, Colorado.
Okay.
And I mean, it's a huge company. It does really good. What's awesome is that the products work, and the testimonials we get are literally like people's lives have changed as a result of taking the products that we make. And it's just really cool to see when someone's like, man, like I used to be super depressed and this and that. And like, yes, ever since taking this, 3 weeks later, like I feel like a new man. I feel like, I'm, all this and that. And it's like literally like life-changing results that people are getting. And it's, all the result of of the research that Chris did to help change his own life. So it's cool that we're able to productize that and bring it to the masses and help other people change their lives too.
That's crazy. That's a crazy story. And
Yeah.
again, it kind of goes back to where you were talking about in terms of like impacting and bringing value to people.
Mm-hmm.
Why has that been such a mantra throughout your career? It seems like.
I don't know who said it. Maybe it was like Zig Ziglar or some business guru out there, but um, the quote that I'm going to butcher is something along the lines of, "You can get everything in life that you want by helping other people get what they want out of life."
That is Zig
It's
Ziglar.
okay. So, and I know I butchered the quote 'cause it's not that.
No,
He
no,
said it
you
more
did good. You
eloquently,
did
but
good. You did good.
yeah, but there's just how, if you are going to be able, like if money is the thing that you want, you're going to be able to get it by providing value to other people. And I learned that really early on just through the affiliate marketing side, where if I can provide value, if I can add value to this product, so you want to buy it from me instead of just by itself, lo and behold, I make more money because I make more sales. So I add value to that equation. You buy from me, I make money, like case in point. So you can play that on a really big level too, though, where if you create a product that helps someone change their life, they're going to want to buy it, and they're going to tell their friends, and then their friends are going to buy it, and you're going to make a lot of money if that's the thing that you want. Um, Honestly, like I've made a lot of money in my day, and I'm 31 years old, but at the same time, I can look back and say, I've helped grow two companies now that have collectively helped probably over 300 thousand people either change their lives, improve their hormones, turn their life around, build a new physique, get healthy, increase their longevity. The list goes on. And so now that's kind of one of the things that I look for in companies is how can I create a product that helps someone change their life? Because if I can do that, then they're going to want to buy it. They're going to tell their friends, and it's going to spread a lot more than trying to sell like a finger spinner,
Yeah.
something like that. So yeah, so it's just like that's just what I like to do, man. I like to build products and offer or I like to build companies that offer products that help people change their life in some capacity. And I get a lot of fulfillment out of the testimonials that come in when I succeed at that, when people buy them and get a result. I love seeing those kind of reviews come in where like they say, dude, you changed my life. Like that's all I'm going to say. You changed my life and I'm really thankful for you. And those make my day.
Yeah, I bet. I'm right now about to start releasing my own like motivational, inspirational content. So like I I've kind of heard some stuff like that before, but like I really can't wait until I'm starting to do that for people because yeah, it's definitely where it's at, more so than a big stack of money, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. Cause I mean, at the end of the day, like, you know, I think this might be Gary Vee that talks about like who's going to miss you when you're gone, and like what are they going to say at your funeral? So I mean, like you can only take so much money to the grave,
Yeah.
but you can, but you can leave an impact after you're gone. And what can you build that you're going to be proud of to leave with, your kids, your sons or daughters, or, what impact you want to leave. And a lot of people don't think about that. Like, and I know that's hard if if you're at a 9 to 5 job and, you just want to pay your bills, you're probably not thinking about like, what impact do I want to leave on the world? Um, but
Yeah.
it is a good question to ask yourself and just think about in the shower, something like that, where, it's just like uninterrupted time where, if you might not be living the life that you want to live right now, but if you were living the life that you wanted to live, what life would you be living? And then from there, it's if you can identify what that is and like create a goal, then there's no reason why you can't reverse engineer what the milestones would entail to achieve that goal, and then just start trying to knock them out one at a time.
I like that. I like that. You start at what would the impact be, then what kind of life would that have to be, and then like how to take the steps to gain that kind of life.
Mm-hmm.
That's a really good way of looking at it. Really good way.
Yeah,
Makes
thanks. I mean, you
makes
don't know.
Go
Oh,
ahead,
go
go
ahead.
ahead. No, you go ahead. Go ahead.
Well, like, no, you don't ever achieve a goal by happenstance. Like you don't, like you have to, in order to achieve a goal, you have to know what the goal is and what it takes to achieve it. Otherwise you don't, it's kind of like if it's like, it's like a football game, right? Like there's a clear winner or loser at the end of the football game. Like there's an objective to the game. There's like, when you win, when you lose.
Of
And
course.
so create those same kind of like rules for a goal that you have. Like create a goal, understand what it looks like when you achieve it, and try to figure out what it will entail to achieve it. What are the steps to take? And then and then all the way down to what's the first minimum viable step that you can take that puts you even on the path in the right direction. It doesn't mean you need to, like, step one is to like start a business with like 10 products and 50 employees. I mean, step one is to like just, figure out like who you can help, like what value can you create, or hell, even like what's your passion? Like, what are you passionate about? Because you can attach that to a revenue model and create some kind of business around it if you want to. But just like understanding what gives you fulfillment in your life is probably step one for most people. And it's probably different from what they're doing right now.
Yeah.
So, and that is going to be different for most people. Like not everybody wants to build a business or be a CMO of a company. That's why, honestly, I left the two companies that I was at because the companies outgrew me, and that's like, and that's okay though. Like what I'm passionate about is the beginning, like the foundational aspects of like building the business from the ground up in the startup. Like my strength is not managing teams of, 30 to 50 people, but there's other people out there that is their strength and that's their unique ability. And they've operated companies at 100 million, and they could build our company from 10 to 100 million a lot better than I could. So there's no shame in that game, man. Like I just stepped out, and someone else is probably going to step in and take it to that level. And I'm starting clearly two more companies right now that I'm loving them. I'm definitely in my prime right now, and in my glory of setting up the initial branding and the product lines and all that, and getting the companies off the ground. But that's where I prefer to play in.
Yeah.
So just kind of like understanding what you're passionate about, and then um, what changes you need to make to your life or lifestyle that can help support that is probably step one.
Wow. So from what I'm hearing is like self-awareness is like a big thing to you right now
Mhm.
in life and in business.
Yeah, probably bigger than it's ever been, really.
Hmm.
Yeah.
What brought that about, or has it always been like that, or did like something just click one day recently?
Um, honestly, I think it was probably like it was probably like as the companies grew. So as Kinobody and Truth Nutra grew, that really became my life, honestly. I have a wife and two dogs here, but so like I have a life outside of the business, but as far as like what I spent most of my day kind of thinking about and obsessing about, it was the business, and kind of taking a roll call of my personal happiness and gratification and how the business impacted my life when I wasn't in the business. There was kind of like a growing disconnect of like the direction the company was growing and the size that it was growing to, and where I felt my strengths laid, where my strengths were.
Yeah.
And, and I think that as the company grew in one direction, the disconnect of like my happiness kind of grew in the other disproportionately. Because it took me out of a place where I felt that I was like the strongest in the company. Not saying that it was like I was outside of my comfort zone. It was like to run a company at that level, I would need to acquire a different set of skills that I didn't care to learn at that time.
Okay.
And so, so I think it was like along, probably the last like year or so, last 1 to 2 years, I really had to become self-aware of what my strengths are, both as a person and as an entrepreneur, and then figure out either, is it something that I can outsource? Like, can I outsource my weaknesses, or do I have to acquire skills to round out certain aspects of, my life and my skills? But then also, where is my happiness generated from? And I found that my happiness is really generated from the early stages of building a business. And, when it's really hands-on and kind of like the hustle, grind work stage. And that's, where I prefer to play. And so I realized, through doing that level of introspection, that I prefer to play in a certain stage of business. And when it grows beyond that, is like, I don't get the personal gratification out of it that I should. And so that lack of passion that I would bring to the company, could derail it in a really big way. So it's better
Yeah.
to bring someone in that's like that aspect is their passion, and they can take it from there, kind of like passing a baton off in a relay race.
Wow. So like all the way, like now you're 31, started when you were 20, and
Hmm.
it seems like you still have that acceptance of things. Like being able to look at something and accept that, like you're like just accepting that, like I'm gonna move away from this rather than like impact it negatively, like kind of
Hmm.
thing that you have. Like how did you form that? Is that just from being an artist? Like how do you have that maturity to do that?
Man, that's a good question. I don't know if it's really something that you learn. I mean, it's just like, I've always really been a glass half full kind of guy.
Hmm.
I've always been an optimist, like a perpetual optimist. Even like, I mean, like bad shit could happen, and I would be like, yeah, but at least, we're still alive,
Yeah.
like that kind of thing. And so I think I just choose to look at the positive in things. And I sometimes it's hard, trust me. But I really just try to look at the positive of things. And I also I try to pull out lessons wherever I can. And to me, it was a lesson, like building a company to a point where it outgrew me was a lesson that I learned about. I choose to perceive that as a lesson in what I don't want. And so even like, we actually like moved. So we were based in Florida down here, on the coast, just south of like Cape Canaveral and Cocoa Beach.
Yeah.
And we relocated the company out to Boulder, Colorado, like 6 months ago. So then I ended up leaving the company and moving back down to Orlando, because it's just where my wife and I like to be. We love the area. We love Disney and the parks and everything. And so it's just like where we want to be. And, so building a company to the point where it basically dictated where I needed to be in my life, where we needed to move, how, extra time that I would spend on the business, it helped me learn what I didn't want out of a business.
Mm.
And because of that, it's really changed how I decided to build businesses going forward. So my next venture is called Rugged Naturals.
Yeah.
Going through starting that right now through the formulation process of the first couple products. And I'm like very intentionally building it in a way that I can work remote. B, I can scale it all completely online. I don't need any physical stores, and I don't need to be in a physical location like Boulder or any specific geographical location to build it.
Yeah.
And it's also going to influence how I hire and who I hire, and make sure that I can hire a team that's virtual and that we can operate as a collective unit, even working, me from Orlando. So, yeah, it's just like, so I just choose to see opportunities in everything out there, but also try to pull lessons from things along the way so I can, kind of have a richer map as I go along.
Wow. Wow. That's yeah, that's really insightful because like right now for me, like I'm trying to get to the point where I'm building something that's viable and rolling and growing and has that momentum and is like fulfilling me in my heart and also my bank account. So
Sometimes the two don't necessarily collide in the beginning, though.
yeah, yeah. I noticed that. I was just a part of something where it was gonna help me financially, potentially, but my heart just wasn't in it at all, and I just had to minus myself from it.
Hmm.
And I just had to take that step. But I don't know if I could do that if it was a $10 million, 8-figure kind of company. I don't know if I'd be able to do that. I
Yeah.
guess I guess my question would be like, what gives you that resolve to do something like that, to step away just like that? Is it because money isn't everything?
Well, yeah, it's that, but it's also, well, a couple things. So the it's kind of like being true to yourself. Like, so there's definitely an aspect to it that's just being true to yourself, and like, what do you want? And like, I mean, there's a million ways to make money. so if like money's the end game, like I'm going to make money with Rugged Naturals. My wife and I make money with Main Street Couture, which is her theme park inspired, accessory line.
Mhm.
Like there's ways to make money out there, but there's also ways to make money that fit inside of the lifestyle that you want. And so understanding what kind of lifestyle you want and then what opportunities fit inside of that is really important to know. And, at first, like when I got into marketing, I was working 40, 45 hours a week at Barnes and Noble. And then I was doing another 40 to 60 hours online after hours. So I
Yeah.
made it work. And so, I mean, in your case, like, I mean, you might do video editing until episode like 500 of your podcast, but there's going to come a time where it's like, it creates enough momentum that like, maybe you get to a point where like a speaking gig more than pays for what you would make in the the video editing, and all of a sudden it's like one displaces the other and you can go all in on the other one. So that's the whole like being open to opportunities and everything, but just like quietly hustling and grinding until you either make it work out or until you can leverage it into the next thing, which could be speaking gigs or products or whatever the next step is that you decide to go in.
Yeah. I might talk to my friend about affiliate marketing. That's what I might do.
I know a guy.
Do you?
I do.
Yeah, definitely. It's funny you say that because I am thinking about speaking. And as you were talking, I was thinking that you should do that too. Get into speaking.
It's funny, man. I've like always been the behind the scenes marketer.
Yeah,
So cause like both the companies, so Kinobody, the primary personality, the front facing personality in Kinobody is Greg.
of course.
And the primary front facing personality in Truth Nutra is Chris.
Hmm.
So I've always been the behind the scenes kind of marketer guy. So it's interesting. This is only the second podcast that I've ever done
Really?
on, well, like not that honestly, this is the second podcast that I've done since starting my own business and since
Wow.
partnering with, other businesses and like scaling that stuff. So yeah, it's interesting. I like it. I like talking about the journey because, we mentioned back in the beginning of this one that you just like one thing leads to another. And it's like all these series of small steps and you look back and you're like, dude, we're crushing it. When did that happen?
Yeah.
So it's like success. You don't just like land it, you don't like arrive at success. Like
Yeah.
I think success is, I never phrase it this way. This is a good way. I just thought about this. Success isn't really a place that you arrive at. Success is a feeling that you get when you look back and realize how far you've come. And so
Wow.
it's not really like, you don't ever arrive at success because there's always like either a new horizon or there's always like something else that you need to do or that you can do. But
Yeah.
it's not until you look back and really, like look at what you've done and what you've accomplished that you have a feeling of like, wow, we've like succeeded in this. So that's how I choose to look at it anyway.
That's a really, really good quote. You need to just take a nice headshot and put that quote up and post that on Instagram.
Yeah, well, I try to. I have to get on Twitter nowadays, keep up with you young cats.
Yeah, you got to get on Twitter. You got to get on Instagram. You got to get on Facebook. Like Gary says, you got to like post almost 10 times a day on each platform.
It's aggressive.
Yeah.
It's really aggressive. I'll stick with like once on each platform for a while and see how that goes. And
Yeah, that's what I've been doing for like the past 2 months. Just once a day, maybe twice, and I'm good there
yeah,
for now.
it's good. Have you noticed any growth from it?
Oh yeah. My followers have gone up maybe by 300 followers on Instagram. A lot of different ads on Facebook, like people adding me.
Cool.
I recently started my own Facebook page to build my own personal brand, and I got about like 200 likes on there so far. So
Nice, man. That's cool. It's growing.
yeah, exactly, right? Like you gotta let it snowball. But like you just said, like success is when you're looking back at it all. And that's so true. So true. When you just look back and you see how far you've come with everything.
Yeah. It's not even like, cause then I feel like if you approach success like that, it's not something that you obsess about. Like, I don't know if anybody that's like actually successful, that's like obsesses about like, oh, I want to be successful. It's always like they're doing something cool and they're passionate about it. And like, that's something that drives them and they just show up every day. And
Yeah.
because they show up every day, they get results from it. And, and then they look back and it's like, wow, we've really done something cool. Like we've really built something cool here, or we're really doing something cool that is, creating an impact. and then you feel success, like you feel successful. I mean, I could say that I'm successful right now, but even that's relative. Like, am I
Yeah.
successful because like I've made money, that I've started companies? Am I not successful because they're not as big as other companies? Like, it's all relative. And then even like with, if you have, I was thinking about this earlier, like let's say you do a promotion and your goal is to make like, $100,000 with this promotion, and you only do 95,000. Like, did you succeed because you still did 95,000, or did you fail because you didn't hit your goal? So you know what I mean? And so it's like how
Yeah.
you choose to define success. And so I choose to define it by what I do and the impact that I have. And, if you can create products and services that create a bigger impact for people and leave them in a better place than when they found you, then hell, I think you're successful.
Yeah. Yeah. That is a better way of looking at it, because that way, at least even if you hit one person in the right way, you still done your job, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's
Yeah.
pretty,
Just try to leave people. And that's kind of a mantra that we've used in our companies a lot. Um, we always try to leave customers in a better place uh, than when they found us, whether they bought from us or not. And so always trying to add value to people, whether it's through free content or videos or, even if they don't buy from us, how can we add enough value that we leave them in a better place than we found them when they
yeah.
came to us? And that's the filter that we use at our companies. And lo and behold, it's helped us build two pretty successful companies out of it.
Yeah, very successful. In my opinion, extremely successful. I mean, when you do something like that and you hit hundreds of people, and you're able to tell your story, you're able to like help I'm sure you've helped people, like aside from the actual business. I'm sure you help people in your life. I'm sure you've enhanced your wife's life, your own life. And
Hmm.
now people who are watching you are going to see this. There's definitely going to be some kid that's working at Indigo that's gonna see this, and he's gonna be like, "Man, I was just stalking that section. I'm gonna take a look at that section."
Oh yeah, dude. I hope so, man.
That's
It's
that's
possible.
that's what I do it all for. I mean, that's the main thing. I want somebody, because for me, I was working in a grocery store, hating life, working in factories, hating life, and just listening to podcasts that like just got me through the nights, got me through the
Hmm.
day. And yeah, I just want to be one of those guys now, like that just helps somebody just get through it and kind of change the way they're thinking, because it's key.
Yeah. Yeah, and probably think too about um, like what's your driver? Like what's your non-monetary driver? And maybe like a good question to think about is what would you do every day? What would you wake up to do every day and you'd be excited to do it, even if you didn't get paid to do it? And like I really think about that. Like it's probably not something you think about every day. Not like you personally, but like the listener.
Yeah.
Um, it's not something you think about every day, but like really spend some time and you really dig into that, like unpack it, mentally, either out loud or not out loud, and really just try to discover, what you're passionate about and what you would do every day if you didn't get paid for it. Because money is a driver until like if you don't have money, money is a driver until you get it. But then once you get it, there's a certain point where, I mean, like I'm not wealthy or anything, and there's like, just because I have two companies that make 10 million doesn't mean that I pocket 10 million a year. I mean,
Yeah.
there's like, first we have a big team, a lot of expenses and everything. So like we weren't paying ourselves like a crazy amount of money. Um, but, but at the same time, like when I worked retail, when I was, 20 years old, I would never fill up my tank of gas in my car. I would put like $10 in here, $10 in there. Like, and now that like I have more money in my bank account, I'm like, I don't fucking pay attention to how much money the gas costs to fill up. I just fill it up until it's full. You know, and so like, I say that just to say like, money's only a driver if you don't have it until you get it. And then once you get enough to like survive to where you're not like chasing money to pay bills, you start thinking about just different things of like, what do I want to do? Like, what
Yeah.
kind of impact do I want to have? And like, what am I passionate about? And, if, the faster you can get to those answers, I think the faster the money's going to come.
True. True. That's actually for me, aside from the audience, that's something that I actually need to hear right now, because like I'm actually at that point where I'm still chasing the money, but
Hmm.
I'm just now starting to think of like, what would I do like for free. And it's this, like, this is what I would do if I didn't get paid, and I'm not getting paid. So, and I still want to wake up and do it every day. I'm still like grinding it out, editing videos and everything, editing
Yeah.
episodes. So this is definitely the thing. So I gotta just stay focused on this, I guess. So thank you
Yeah.
for it.
And yeah, dude, totally. And there's like, I mean, you do enough of this and there's going to be an opportunity at some point. Like someone's going to be like, oh, like, I don't know what the hell the opportunity is going to be. And I'm not going to pretend that I do, but what I do know that is if you keep doing this, keep connecting with cool people, keep offering and providing value to the listeners, like there's going to be some financial return from it at some point. There's going to be some way to either monetize it or to leverage it into something else that is, probably going to be pretty financially
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah. So, in terms of mindset, actually, you know what? I got like 2, 3 more questions, but
Mhm.
let's get into. I was gonna ask where we can see you online, but do you want to talk a bit about Main Street Couture before we like sum things up?
Yeah, totally. So, Main Street Couture so keep in mind, we live in Orlando,
Of
like
course.
literally right behind Magic Kingdom and Disney World.
Wow.
We're really big park people. Like we love the whole, I mean, there's like, we're Disney people, but now just like movies and everything, like we like the parks, like the Disney World Park, Universal, like just like the cool things in Orlando here.
Yeah.
And so it was out of that passion that this business was born. And so it's called Main Street Couture. It's primarily operated by my wife, Emily. But so let me ask you, so, have you ever been to Disney World?
No, I've never had the pleasure. Not yet. I'm gonna go though
Oh,
one day.
dude,
I have to. I have to see it one day.
dude, you do, man. It's really fun. But like the mouse ears that people
Of
buy?
of course.
Okay, so mouse ears are huge. Like they sell them in all the parks. People on Etsy sell them all the time. And and they look really cool in some cases, but the problem is like you'll only be able to wear them in a park.
Yeah.
So like you're never gonna wear like mouse ears at Target or
No.
something. So and yet they're like that alone is like a multi-million-dollar channel for like accessories and apparel for Disney.
Hmm.
And so my wife had an idea where she could take basically like fabrics that are reminiscent of like Disney characters, and she can make them in a headband form instead of the mouse ears. I think I got. Hang on a second. Hold on.
Do it. Right now, I believe he's getting a
So
headband.
I know this is an audio, so it's
Yep.
not going to help the listeners at all.
Yeah, yeah, don't worry.
But if it's a video and if they see that, so this is what they look like. So it's like a headband for ladies to wear, and it's basically so this fabric is inspired by Jessie from Toy Story.
Okay. Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about.
So and it's simple. I mean, it's just a band with like a bow on it, and so she makes these, and so yeah, it's just like so. The point here though is it's an iteration of the mouse ears that you can wear anywhere, even outside of the parks.
Yeah.
So we can sell them to people that don't necessarily live in Orlando or Anaheim by Disneyland.
Hmm.
And so it's just, but it's cool. It's a way for us to stay connected to the parks and in that world and everything. To be honest with you, we created the company literally so we could network with other people that like Disney as well and make friends. Like legit, like that's why we started it. But then, we made, we launched these with like no audience and made almost $2,000 our first week. So, I mean, there's like definitely a model behind it, but yeah, it's cool. So it's a fun little side business. And then, now that we're in the Orlando/Disney area, we hope to scale it, to pretty big heights.
Yeah,
My eventual goal is we got a patent on the design right now. And so I want to eventually sell or license the IP to Disney
of course.
and exit it at some point. My goals are a little bit more, Emily just wants to pay the bills. And I'm like, we're going to like sell the IP to Disney for like $3 billion. So just levels of goals here, man. So, but yeah, so Main Street Couture, it's just Disney and Universal themed, like we call it park inspired apparel and accessories for you to rock, piece of Disney or Universal, like Harry Potter and everything in a really
Yeah,
low key way that fits into whatever style you may have.
that's amazing. That's actually a really good idea.
Well,
Because as soon as
thanks.
you, as soon as you said it, I was like, oh, he's gonna be working with Disney. Like that's what that's gonna lead to. Like if you guys just keep pushing it, right?
Yeah, I think so. And then there's like headband of the month club, we can do. The cool thing is like, if we see like cool fabrics out there that are like, more like Disney themed or whatever, we can buy it, and it lends itself to doing small runs of like really limited time exclusive headbands.
Yeah.
And so there's like a built-in exclusivity to it, but then we can do the hairband of the month club, which we're going to be introducing in January, that every month you get basically new we call them hairbands.
Yeah.
Slightly more unique than headband, but
Mm-hmm.
so yeah, every month. So the idea is to have, build this continuity program with the hairbands, and we're going to introduce these kind of like a scrunchie with a bow on it, just further accessories for ladies to wear, and then get everybody on continuity, and then leverage that asset to sell to Disney, and ideally sell the patent to them with it as well, and have them roll those out into all their retail stores.
Wow. Wow.
Small
So,
goals, man. So it's all about the
yeah.
small goals here.
Yeah. Yeah. Small is all relative, right? I mean, these are like big goals in somebody else's eyes. These little things you got going on.
Yeah, no, it's fun though. I mean, it's like, it's all on Shopify. So, we make the inventory, kind of got a little sweatshop down on our kitchen table, assemble all the headbands. We got photography, like all that end of it lined up, where we take the product shots, throw them on the site, and then it's all on Shopify and really easy to, package and all that kind of stuff. So, it's fun little business. It's something for her and I to connect with as well and do together, and gives us an excuse to get into the parks more and meet cool people, and it's fun.
Yeah, yeah. And it really speaks to what you were just saying earlier about your lifestyle, like choosing the lifestyle and like the business, like making those things coincide, like the
Hmm.
lifestyle that you want with the business that you're going to be pursuing.
Yeah, even like, I mean, as an extreme degree, but like the reason we moved back to the Orlando area is because because it would be a better location for us to run this business out of. And it's where we wanted to kind of build a family and a life and a lifestyle.
Of course.
So, and that's like, again, it's something anybody can do. You just need to, like, her and I just had a talk of like, this is where we want to be. This is what we want to do. And, just figured out how to get there.
Man, I like that a lot. I like that a lot. You're pretty amazing because you're a perfect, like Gary Vee would always talk about, as you even mentioned, like the entrepreneurial gene, how it's in the
Yeah.
genes, it's in the DNA, and you're like a perfect example of like, no, it's not. It's and I'm a full believer in this because I was like that too. I was full creative up until I
Yeah.
was like 20, 23, 24, and then I started focusing on business and stuff like that. Um,
Yeah. Well, just to that note, I always thought that I was really self-conscious of that, because even we were talking about one of the groups that we know of before Baby Bathwater, and it's
yeah.
all like entrepreneurs that are very, very successful. I mean, like to a much larger degree than like any successes I've had. Guys that have like started multiple $100 million companies, like 9-figure companies. It's like crazy,
Yeah.
and it's like it's kind of daunting, because you could tell a lot of those guys are like, they have that entrepreneur kind of gene, where like they have all the stories of like hustling their neighborhood kids for baseball cards and stuff.
Yeah.
And I've kind of been self-conscious about the fact that like I've not been an entrepreneur by trade. I think it's really interesting. That's why I got into it when I was 20. But like stumbling into, like, going from like not being a business kind of guy to like having to learn everything when you're 20 and only being in it for like 10 years now. I mean, it's, again, if I can do it, anybody can, but you don't need to be born with, the hustler gene, if there is even such a thing. I mean, you can learn it if you have a passion for it and you want to develop it.
Definitely. I agree with that 100%. That's why I talk so much about mindset and habits and behaviors, because those are the things that will dictate, quote unquote, your genes, right? Like, I mean, as
Hmm.
long as you make that shift in your mind and you acquire the right habits and you start displaying the proper behaviors in order to like succeed, like achieve these goals, then
Yeah.
you're going to become that entrepreneur or that anything that you want, really.
Hmm. Yeah, totally. It's just about, where, what's the saying? Like, where your attention goes,
Where your energy flows. We're
something
both
like
we're
that.
both butchering the quote.
Yeah, it's all right. Let's stop that one. Just like put your mind to it. All right.
It's very true though. So just before I ask my last question, where can people find you online, your websites for all your businesses, everything that you're pushing right now? Where can they find you guys?
Quite honestly, I would say ruggednaturals.com is probably going to be my new home base. If you're into Disney or the parks at all, Universal, etc., definitely check out mainstreetcouture.com. But if you want to get a hold of me personally, Tom at ruggednaturals.com would probably be the best place to go. Currently, the site's not live yet at the time of recording this. It's probably going to be pushed live probably the first of the year. So like early January. I'm just going through the sampling and the formulation process for the products right now. So as soon as I get those almost good to go and place the first order, I'll probably have the site set up by then. So probably a month after having recorded this episode, Rugged Naturals is the place to find me.
Okay, perfect. I think I have two final questions.
No, you said one, man. You said one. Peacing out.
But it's so important because you talk about your wife. I have a girlfriend myself, and we're looking to build a life together as time goes on. But I am fully pursuing the entrepreneurial avenue. How do you make that balance? How do you balance the whole family and work while you're building brands and building family at the same time?
So it's tough because I waffle back and forth between like the work time balance is like not a thing and versus it is a thing. And I think when it comes down to it, it's almost like you have to be conscious of where your time is being spent and make sure to invest the time into the places that you want to go to grow the things that you want to grow. That it might come down to scheduling date nights, like schedule date, like every Friday night's date night, every Monday night's date night. Hell, it could be every Tuesday night's date night. It doesn't need to be a weekend. Because in the beginning of the entrepreneurial game, when you're setting something up, it's going to take a long time. It's going to take long days, long hours. You might have to work overnight a couple times. I know I did. I mean, maybe not for everybody, but when you're learning new skills, it just takes a long time. And obviously, like I think communication is really important in that, like communicating not just like mundane, like everyday things, but communicating like what you're trying to do and like where you're trying to go and what you're doing for the other person and for your life. I actually started dating my now wife back then when I first got into marketing. Like I got into marketing 3 months before I started dating her. So she's basically been with me the entire time that I've been doing internet marketing. And, I think early on I communicated that like I was working really hard to build something for us, not just for me. And if you're honest about that, and if you communicate really well in that regard, and if you designate time to spend with each other to grow that relationship, I think you can make it work even around a super hectic life otherwise. And now, not saying that I'm the best at this, because I've definitely had my shortcomings with it. I've gotten, I think it's kind of natural to get obsessive about things and like to get really entrenched with something, and kind of every now and then you really need to come up for air and kind of assess where you're at and where you're going with things, and try to be as conscious as you can about where your attention and where your energy is going, and make sure that it's that you allocate it into the appropriate places, like a relationship as well as a business.
Perfect. Yeah, you're very right about that. I actually have her like beside me. She's actually asleep right now. Trying to be as quiet as possible so she doesn't interrupt the interview.
Yeah. A couple Benadryl didn't hurt that at all. Go to sleep, babe.
Basically. And the last question would be to that 20-year-old kid or 30-year-old man who's just starting out on their journey of having to learn something that they know nothing about, and they're just getting started, what would be your best advice to that person?
This is an easy one. So to my now 31-year-old self is talking to my 20-year-old self. I would say define what you want more clearly than you think is possible. And the reason I say that is because just the whole grind thing of like always working super hard and all that, acquiring skills, all of that. If you aren't super crystal clear on what you're trying to do, you're going to spend a lot more time than it takes to do it. doing things that don't directly help it. So like if you don't have a goal for the day, you can work 20 hours that day, but maybe only two of those 20 hours are even spent doing something productive that's going to advance where you're at towards where you want to go.
Yeah.
However, if you get really clear on a goal and know exactly what you need to do that day to get closer to that goal, you can work for 2 or 3 hours, be as productive as you need to be in those 2 or 3 hours, and literally get 17 hours of your life back.
Mm-hmm.
And that can I don't know what word I was even going with that. That stacks up though, like over time, it accumulates. Like you can really gain hours of your life back doing something really cool, but not spending your entire life, doing it.
Yeah.
So I would get really clear on the goal, and I would really start to prioritize where my energy goes and the things that I'm doing, and making sure that I'm conscious to invest time into doing something that's going to bring me closer to the goal. And because I know, like when I got started, I got kind of just went off the deep end of like this whole learning and researching mode. That's what we talked about, earlier on in the recording.
Yeah.
And I really spent. I'd like to say that I I'd like to say that I was productive, but I think in the beginning stages of it, because I didn't know exactly what I was doing and I didn't define what I wanted to do, I was more busy than productive, and because of that, I wasted a lot of time. And if I could have just gotten more clear on goals and really set those in stone and focused more on the things that were going to help me achieve those goals faster, I could have started sprinting much faster than I did. So I could have compressed the time it took me to be to the level of success that I've had a lot faster if I was more clear on where I wanted to go.
Yeah.
So I would say like just focus, like find a goal, like create a goal, create a vision for yourself, and like what your ideal goal is. And I would try to reverse engineer the milestones or the steps that it would take to achieve that goal. And then all the way down to the first smallest step that I could take to even be on the path towards that goal in that general direction. And then I would just keep adjusting my trajectory as I go in very small incremental steps until I get there. And that at least I would know if I'm winning or losing in a more definable way than just the whole shotgun approach of, being busy all the time and trying to do everything. And at the end of the day, not really doing much of anything.
Yeah. Yeah. Man, that's amazing. Thank you so much. A straight testimony that you can learn the entrepreneurial gene. Thank you so much, Tom.
You're welcome, man.
That was incredible. Thank you,
Yeah,
man.
you know what? Actually, I'm gonna cap it off with one more racquetball lesson that I learned.
Oh yeah?
So yeah, so this is the same guy, right? So number 40 on the pro tour.
Yeah.
So at first he said there's no substitution for court time. And so I took that to heart for a number of years. And then, we've played on and off through the years. And so I got to a certain level, basically like the division right below the pro tier. And I couldn't crack into like the high, like in that division, it's called open.
Okay.
And so it goes DCBA open pro.
Okay.
And so I got basically from D to open. And I couldn't crack higher than that. And, I just get smoked at these tournaments. And I'm like, and I went back to him. This is to come full circle here.
Mm-hmm.
So I went back to him like a couple years down the road. And I was like, man, like, I've been practicing, I've been doing all this. And like, I can't crack into this tier. I just get smoked by the same guys. And I feel like I could beat them, but like they always smoke me and I don't know why. And he's like, well, you're not playing one shot at a time. And I'm like, what do you mean? He said, a lot of people they think that to win a game, you play through 2 games to 15, tiebreaker to 11. And a lot of people think that you win the game by, getting 1 point at a time. And I'm like, yeah, it's obviously you do. And he's like, no, you can't think about it by 1 point at a time. You need to play a game 1 shot at a time, because with enough shots and with placing the focus and your energy and making the right shots, those shots are going to add up to the points, and it's the points that add up to the game. So if you focus on getting the points, you're not focusing on the shots, which are right in front of you, and you're sabotaging yourself in your own mind. I'm like, fuck, that's like so profound. So then I started focusing on like, so it's like the small steps though, right? It's like minimum viable steps, focused on the shots. The shots are going to accumulate into points, and the points are going to accumulate into wins in the game. And so doing that, I was able to, focus on something very similar, but, slightly different in my approach to racquetball. And, now I'm actually like ranked and everything. And I was able to, ascend to the next tier in my racquetball career. And hopefully that's going to continue to grow too. And I've applied a lot of those concepts to business as well. And I was able to, run a little bit faster.
Man, that's actually a really good insight. Really good insight.
So
Perfect.
focus on the shots, man. That's focus on the shots. They're going to add up to the points, and you're going to win more games than you lose.
Man, thank you for that.
Yeah, you got it, dude. Yeah, it's been fun. Thanks for having me on the podcast here. It's been really fun chatting.
No problem, man. It's been amazing. Thank you so much for doing this.
Very welcome.
We'll
Hopefully
have to do it again.
Yeah, hopefully people get some value out of it.
Definitely they will. All right. That's it, man.
Cool. Dude, this went longer than I thought. This is good.
Yeah, man. It went much longer than I thought. I'm probably going to break it into 2 episodes.
Awesome.
I'll probably do
Cool.
a part 1 and 2.
Do you are these on iTunes right now?
Right now, no. I'm actually going to set up a SoundCloud and then connect that to iTunes. I think that's the best way for me to do it right now. I don't know another way. So I'm going to actually get a SoundCloud going, and then I'm going to put them all on there, and they're going to be on YouTube as well.
Awesome.
Yeah. So
cool. Yeah, dude, can't wait to check it out.
Yeah, definitely. And I'm gonna do like a nice little intro, nice little outro when I get my camera up and running and everything. And yeah, I'm gonna try and bring some value. I'm even gonna edit this. I'm gonna try and color correct you, color correct me, and try and make it as best as I can.
Awesome. Yeah, dude, let me know when it's out. I'd love to share it and do what I can.
100%. Thank you so much for that too.
You got it, man. We'll talk to you soon though, all right?
Later, man.
All right. Peace, brother. It's been fun.
Thank you. That was incredible. As always, guys, like, subscribe, and share. Process. Peace.